colour you are.
Okay. We decided to go indoors because it was cold, so we walked around the mall for a little bit and found somewhere to sit so that we could have a conversation with each other. We introduced each other's challenge to each other, and then we had a conversation about how we might help to resolve each other's challenge. So that's us sitting together. My concept that I want the students to understand is gentrification. So gentrification in its most straightforward sense is the regeneration of rundown city areas and redevelopment, a bit like Media City that we're in, into more aesthetically pleasing and more perhaps middle-class residential areas. And I think the students get that. When they hear gentrification, they understand that. What I want them to really understand is the issues of displacement that go along with gentrification, the issues related to previous communities that lived in those spaces, and the agency that those communities had with regard to decisions about their displacement. And I think that's the difficult concept for them to really grasp. I can use photographs to show them before and after scenarios, and I think that gives them a sense of description of the change, but it still doesn't give them a sense of understanding or feeling what that agency or lack of agency actually means. So we talked about that, and I know I've gone first. It was really having talked about a more abstract idea, which GP will talk about himself, that made me think, oh, there is another way that I could engage the students with these concepts. So the idea was, and we've got some photographs, to look at people's eye colour. And in my lecture, I will get all the people with blue eyes to go and sit in one space. I'll physically move them. All the people with green eyes will sit in another space. All the people with brown eyes will sit in another space. And I will ask them how they felt about me forcing them to move. As an extension to that, I could get all the people with blue eyes to go and sit on the floor. There might be some issues around that, mobility issues or something, but that would be an extension of that, to see what kind of response I get, what kind of consultation process they feel would be required in order for them to be able or be allowed to do such a thing. So that's really how we resolve that.
Yeah. Right, in my own case, I brought the concept of what is called the pore spaces. And as a petroleum engineer, the first idea we have to sell to the students is that this petroleum is found beneath the earth crust, and that under the earth crust you don't have a pool of liquid or hydrocarbon liquid. They do not exist in form of river. Rather, they are mixed up with the rock formation. And I could, even while sitting here, I could look at the blackboard and see that you could see some white dots and some gray dots. So if you regard the white dots as the grains of the rock formation and the pale color as the hydrocarbon fluid, you could see that it would be very difficult for the student to visualize the way it is, and that's what we normally see in textbooks. So, but if you have some bulbs, normally I use oranges. You have 3 oranges and arrange the 3 oranges such a way that the 3 of them will touch each other. You find out that in between you have a space. And if the oranges are regarded as the grain of the formation, the opening, that pore space, is where the hydrocarbons are found. So it's not a pool of river, and it's not like a swimming pool. And she asked me, if it is so, what happens to the oranges after? I said, no, I don't give it to the student to eat. Then he said, it's better you look for other spherical material like plastic, which you go to the class and even put it in a transparent glass, and you pour water into it, you will find out that water will go in between the pore spaces and stay. So they will visualize that as what happens in the formation. I think that was where, even as a non-petroleum engineer, her idea during the discussion stage contributed to the idea of what I could tell the students the pore spaces and having said that, it then means that these balls are of infinite in nature. So it's not that you just have a small space. So in the accumulation, you have them in large areas and in between the spaces. And despite that, the spaces must be interconnected. The openings we see must be interconnected in such a way that the flow could pass through. But if we leave it the way it is here on the board, black and, white and gray patchy colors, it will be difficult for the student to visualize what is happening beneath the earth crust. Thank you.
Okay.